Sarah was a quiet girl. She lived in a small town in Texas. She loved reading books and listening to music. But there was one problem. She was afraid to speak English in front of others. At school, Sarah understood what the teacher said. She could write answers in her notebook. But when the teacher asked her a question aloud, she felt scared. Her hands shook, her heart beat fast. Her voice disappeared. One day her best friend Anna said, "Sarah, you can do it. You just need a little practice. Let's speak English together at lunch." Sarah smiled and said, "Okay, let's try." Every day they met during lunch, Anna asked simple questions. What did you eat for breakfast? What is your favorite color? What do you like to do? Sarah answered slowly, "I ate eggs. My favorite color is blue. I like to draw." Day by day, Sarah's confidence grew. One day, Mr. Lewis, their English teacher, said, "Next week we will have a short speech competition. Please prepare to speak for 1 minute." Sarah felt nervous, but Anna said, "You can do it just right. A short story and practice with me." That night, Sarah sat at her desk. She wrote a story about her dog. Max, she wrote, "My dog is brown. He is small. He loves to play with a ball. He makes me happy." For the next 3 days, she practiced in front of the mirror. She said the sentences again and again. She smiled, she stood tall, she believed she could do it. The day of the competition came. Sarah walked to the front of the class. She looked at her friends and teacher. She took a deep breath and began to speak. "My dog is brown. He is small. He loves to play with a ball. He makes me happy." Her voice was soft but clear. She looked at the class and smiled. Everyone clapped. Mr. Lewis said, "Well done, Sarah. I am proud of you." Anna gave her a high five and said, "See, you did it." That night, Sarah wrote in her notebook, "Today I spoke in English in front of the whole class. I was scared, but I did it. I am proud of myself." From that day, Sarah spoke English every day. She made small mistakes, but she kept trying, and every day she became more confident. After her speech in class, Sarah felt like a new person. She was still shy, but something inside her had changed. She believed she could learn to speak English clearly. She wanted to keep going. Sarah started watching short English videos on her phone. Every morning she watched the 2-minute video with subtitles. She repeated the words out loud. "Good morning. How are you? I am happy to meet you." She spoke to herself in front of the mirror like she was talking to a friend. At lunch, Anna noticed the change in her. "Sarah, you sound better every day." "How are you doing it?" Sarah said. "I watch videos and speak with myself." Anna laughed and said, "That's smart." One day, Mr. Lewis told the class about a school talent show. He said, "You can sing, dance, act, or do anything special. Would anyone like to speak in English?" Sarah felt a small voice inside her say, "Try again, show them your voice." She raised her hand and said, "I want to give a short speech." Everyone looked surprised. Mr. Lewis smiled and said, "That's wonderful, Sarah." At home, Sarah opened her notebook. She started writing a new speech. It was called "My Dream." She wrote, "I want to be a teacher. I want to help children learn. I want to show them that English is fun and not scary." She practiced every day in her room. Her little brother Ben watched her and said, "You talk so much now, Sarah." She smiled and said, "I need to be brave." On the day of the talent show, Sarah stood behind the curtain. She looked at the lights, the audience, the big stage. Her hands were cold, her heart was racing. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. When her name was called, she walked to the center of the stage. She looked up and saw Anna smiling from the front row. Mr. Lewis gave her a thumbs up. Sarah began, "My name is Sarah. and I have a dream I want to be a teacher." Her voice was slow but clear. She paused between lines and smiled at the audience. "I was afraid to speak English, but I learned step by step. Now I want to help others." The audience clapped loudly. Sarah felt joy in her heart. It was not about being perfect. It was about trying with courage. After the show, many students came to her and said, "You spoke very well." "Sarah, I want to try too," one girl said. "Can we practice together?" Sarah said, "Yes, I would love to help." She went home that night and wrote in her notebook, "Today I stood on stage and spoke from my heart. I made my dream real. I want to keep learning and keep sharing." The next day, Mr. Lewis announced something new. He said, "We are starting a morning English club. Students can come and speak in English before class." Sarah and Anna were the first to join. In the club, they spoke about daily life. "What did you eat? What did you do yesterday? What will you do tomorrow?" They played games like Find the Word and acted short conversations. More students joined Sarah, helped them speak with simple words. She said, "Do not be afraid, just say it one sentence. A day makes a big change." By the end of the month, Sarah became the leader of the English club. Mr. Lewis said, "I am proud of you, Sarah." Sarah continued to lead the English club every morning. Before class began, she arrived early and set up the room with flashcards, a whiteboard, and short practice sheets. New students were joining every week. Some were shy. Some laughed nervously. But Sarah welcomed them all with a warm smile. One day she wrote on the board, "Today's topic, my weekend." She pointed to Anna and said, "Start with 3 simple sentences." Anna stood and said, "I played with my dog. I watched a movie. I ate pizza." Everyone clapped. "Now you try," Sarah said to a quiet boy in the corner. His name was Luis. He looked nervous but said, "I watch TV, I sleep late. I like chocolate." Everyone smiled and said, "Good job." Sarah said, "See, it is not hard. You just need to try." At lunch, Sarah and Anna talked about their dream to make the club bigger. "What if we ask Mr. Lewis to help us get a small room?" Sarah said with hope. They went to him after class and explained their idea. Mr. Lewis said, "Let me talk to the principal." A week later, Sarah got good news. The school would give them a small classroom with chairs and a whiteboard. Now the club had a real space. Sarah made a schedule. Monday was story day. Tuesday was speaking game day. Wednesday was listening practice. Thursday was interview day, and Friday was free talk. Everyone was excited. She made small name tags for each student. She gave simple topics and helped them build confidence. One student said, "I like music." Sarah asked, "What kind of music?" He said, "Pop music." Sarah smiled and said, "Me too." They started a new rule: speak only English in the club, no fear, no laughing at mistakes. Everyone must try. Slowly, even the quietest students began to talk. One girl named Maya whispered her first sentence. "I have a cat." Sarah clapped and said, "That is perfect." Sarah kept improving too. At home, she started reading children's English books. She listened to audiobooks and copied the sentences. She made a vocabulary box and added 5 new words each day. One day, Mr. Lewis gave her a surprise. He handed her a certificate. It said English Club Leader. Sarah smiled with tears in her eyes. She never thought she would be a leader in English. That night, she opened her notebook and wrote, "I helped 10 students speak today. We laughed. We learned. We spoke. I feel proud." She looked at her window and thought, "One day I will teach many students. I will tell them my story." After receiving the certificate, Sarah felt like her dream was becoming real. Every day she grew more confident. Her English was improving. Her smile was bigger. Her voice was stronger. One day, Emma Lewis invited a guest to the English club. Her name was Mrs. Thompson. She was a teacher from a nearby high school. She listened to the students and said, "This is amazing. I want to invite one of you to give a speech at our school event." Everyone looked at Sarah. Mrs. Thompson smiled at her and said, "Would you like to speak?" Sarah felt nervous, but said, "Yes, I will try." At home, Sarah began writing a new speech. She called it "My Journey." She wrote, "I started with fear. I spoke one word, I made mistakes. But I did not stop. Now I speak with joy. I help others do the same." She practiced every evening. Her brother Ben listened and clapped. Her parents said, "We are proud of you. Sarah, you are a star." The day of the high school event came. Sarah wore a simple dress and carried her notebook. The hall was big and full of older students. She walked to the microphone with calm steps. She looked at the crowd and began. "When I was small, I was afraid to speak English, but my friend Anna helped me. My teacher, Mr. Lewis, believed in me. I joined the English club. I spoke one sentence each day. And now I help others speak." She told them about Maya, who said, "I have a cat about." Lise, who said, "I like chocolate." She said, "It does not matter if your English is perfect. What matters is your heart and your effort." When she finished, the room was quiet for a second. Then the applause filled the hall. Many students stood up and clapped. Sarah smiled with tears in her eyes. After the speech, Mrs. Thompson said, "You inspired us. Would you like to come teach a simple class here next week?" Sarah said, "Yes, I would love to." Anna ran to hug her and said, "You did it." Sarah said, "No, we did it." The next day in the English club, everyone asked her questions. How was it? Were you scared? Did you forget your words? Sarah said, "I was scared, but I remembered my story. And that gave me strength." They all practiced speeches that day. Each student shared a small story. A time they were shy. A time they tried. A time they learned something simple but powerful. Sarah told them, "Every time you speak, you grow. Do not stop. Do not wait, speak. Now, even if it is just 5 words." She made a challenge for the group. Speak English at home once a day, even with your family or pet. 1 sentence a day for 1 month, she said. This will change you. Many students joined the challenge. One boy said, "I spoke to my sister in English." She laughed but then answered in English. Sarah said, "That is how it begins." At home, Sarah was writing more than ever. Her notebook had speeches, goals, new words, and short stories. She wanted to make a book for beginners. A book of real stories from real students. Mr. Lewis saw her writing and said, "I think you are already a teacher." Sarah said, "I still have much to learn." Mr. Lewis replied, "That is what makes a great teacher." The final week of school arrived. Sarah and the English Club planned a special event. It was called English Day. They invited students, teachers, and even parents to come listen to their stories. Sarah made small cards with names and topics. She helped each student write their story. One girl named Aisha wrote about her first English word. A boy named Omar wrote about how he ordered food in English for the first time. Anna said, "Sarah, you created something." Beautiful Sarah smiled and said, "We all did this together." On the morning of English Day, Sarah stood near the stage. She watched as students practiced their lines. Some were nervous, some were smiling, but everyone was ready. Mr. Lewis opened the event and said, "Today we celebrate courage. These students are not just learning English. They are learning to believe in themselves." Each student walked up and shared their story. Small sentences, simple words, big hearts. One by one, the audience clapped and smiled. Finally, it was Sarah's turn. She walked to the stage and said, "Hello everyone, my name is Sarah and I am here to share my voice." She told her journey from fear to friendship, from one sentence to full speeches, from listening to leading. She said, "If you are scared to speak English, start with one word, then one sentence. Then one day you will surprise yourself." She thanked Anna for being her first partner, Mr. Lewis for believing in her, and her classmates for joining her dream. At the end of her speech, everyone stood and clapped. Her parents had tears in their eyes. Her brother Ben gave her a thumbs up. After the event, Mrs. Thompson gave Sarah a letter. It said, "We are offering you a weekend teaching program for beginners. Would you like to be our assistant?" Sarah said yes with a big smile. The next day, Sarah wrote in her notebook, "I started with fear. I found courage, I shared my voice. I helped others speak. This is only the beginning." And with that, Sarah's story became a light for others. A simple girl, a small voice, a big heart. That is all you need to learn and to teach.